Hello everybody, and welcome to the first video of the course Managing Nano Server in Hyper-V. It's a really pleasure to be with you here and starting the journey with you. So this is the first pillar that we're going to cover. This is the first video of the first pillar, that is virtualization for structural challenges and the importance of the Nano Server. So this is starting off to cover this specific first pillar. And in order to do that, the first topic that we're going to talk in now, it's about the main challenges to managing Hyper-V nodes and the importance of the Nano Server. So that's good. Let's talk a little bit about that. This topic is to be more about a conversation to raising more about the identifying the main issues that we have and why we should consider other options. So let's get started on that. Yeah. So how it is going to work in this topic? So we starting to talking about main challenges and environment. That's the idea. We are going to drill down a little bit about this topic, and then we talking to understanding what is Nano Server, how it was designed, and what's the idea behind that, and then we finalizing the topic in talking about why should I adopt the Nano Server. So that's basically the three topics that we're going to cover now. Okay. So if you look in that, we having the main challenges to manage in the Hyper-V node. If you are running now in an environment that has Hyper-V nodes are running the environment that has totally virtualized, you are providing a really good benefit for people that is using the virtual machine, but you know that you're having a specific challenges for you providing that, and one of the main challenges it is regarding the idea that you need to providing high availability for this environment. So people are running now the virtual machines and they don't want to be having the environment interrupted. Okay, that's good and that's part of the goal to achieving. However, you know that you having your hosts behind of that you need to maintain. And what happens if you need to creating those kind of the common maintenance process that it's required for those nodes? You need to decreasing the possibilities for the downtimes, and also you need to reducing your operational effort for that. But one of the main problems is that in the Hyper-V, it's a common, as a standard, is a common Windows servers that in requiring to apply Windows updates regularly, and that is expecting because we're talking about the security, and also it's requiring the reboots. It is something that you need to do. However, how can you do that and does not affecting? Well, basically you have different strategies to cover that, and you can achieve this in a different way, and we are going to explore more deep about that. However, it could be really interesting if you having your environment more dedicated to the role that they have been created for. So imagine that if you were running a traditional Windows server as a Hyper-V, actually you are running more items than only the host virtualizer. That's the key here. So if you have, for example, your Windows server with your all the environment, the graphical interface, you have the different components. You have the Edge or Internet Explorer, or you have all the items for the interface that you are running. And then if you look in the listing for the updates that you're applying, most of that are not related to the Hyper-V. Actually, because you are not running only the Hyper-V, you are running a lot of the other components. And that is one of the key points that we need to explore more here. Because if I have too many updates for other components, this is expecting more loading to my system to hosting those components and more updates as well. That also requiring more reboots. As you can see, is a cycle for that. So if you can maintain the minimal components on the Hyper-V node, it could be a good strategy, I would say, because imagine that you don't need to worry more about those components, and then you have less updates, less reboots, and less maintenance. That is one of the key points here. Concentrating resources do you have to the virtual machine only, and not for other components. And this is one of the key points for the Nano Server here, because when you are running Windows Server as general, it was a system that was designed for multiple proposals, not this only one. And that is why you cannot achieve that using a traditional Windows Server. And that is how the Nano Server can help you on that. So the main challenge that I describing here, I believe it is near for the challenges that maybe you are facing right now. So That is something more common that happens, that you need to concentrate in more resources as well for your virtual machines. I think it is, imagine that it's common that the virtual machines require more memory for different proposals, but your host, your Hyper-V host is using a mounting of this memory only to your own resources. Is that not fair enough? I'd say it could be better if this kind of the memory could be allocated to the virtual machines, and also you using the less CPU and any other resources that you could concentrate in to providing services for your environment, and not specifically for your host virtualizer. Okay, that is some of the main challenges that I believe you are needed to dealing in the common environment that you have it running the Hyper-V nodes. Okay, so that's good, but how the Nano Server can cover that, and what exactly is the Nano Server? Nano Server it's just something that the Microsoft has designed it to work specifically for roles that you need. So imagine that it's a system really really small. That is basically the reason of this name. So it is something that is not a common like a Windows Server that you can see that has different tools. No, you see that is a system that is really really small. Then you can use it only in the not in a graphic. Sorry about that, but you're going to see that the Nano Server has been created to be remotely administrated. So that means the console they provide for only specific key operations, but everything has to be managing remotely. That's the idea. But it is, and also the idea to cover in an item that is more shorter and without any graphic resources that is more similar to the server core, but significantly smaller, I'd say. They could be able to create something that's much more smaller for the server core. If you did not have a chance to work with the Windows Server core yet, it's a version of the Windows Server that does not have the graphic interface, and then reducing too much in the amounting of the resources required for the Windows Server. So they did this, and then after that created the Nano Server that is much more smaller for that. Yeah, so the Nano Server is available as a standard and data center editions only, so the other versions for the Windows Server does not cover this specific solution for the Windows Server 2016. So just to be aware that it is not in cover all the other editions. You need to be one of the idea of those two, and this is ideal. We are going to cover more in the Hyper-V topic, but it was designed for other solutions as well. As I mentioned here, that you have, for example, the Nano Server to hosting storage server or a DNS role, or you can use it as a web server. It could be also possible to use a Hyper-V for a Nano Server, sorry, for using as an Internet Information Service and hosting your web server on that. You're going to see that when you are set up your environment that it's possible to run the Nano Server on those different proposals. It is really really interesting. Then you're going to see that. So that was the main idea. Focus on specific the service that you want to provide, and not in creating something that is more powerful, but it's really really concentrated for what you want to deliver. And what is really interesting for us is that you running as a Hyper-V, because this is a really ideal scenario that I would say for the Nano Server. It could be really matching all the requisites for a virtualized environment. So that's basically what is Nano Server. Okay, this is a brief review. Don't worry, we are going to cover more details about the Nano Server during the next videos, but just to provide you a brief review about what is the idea and what exactly the Nano Server has been designed for. So that's good. And also, but why should I adopt the Nano Server? If you adopt the Nano Server, imagine that it is really expecting that you have less updates, because you having an image that is really really reduced, and you having the potential number of the items affected has been reduced to the minimum, and then you having the amounting of the updates that you need to maintain, it is really less. It is really expecting that, and also consequently you have less reboots. It's that you have also smaller server images. That is also really good if you have multiple environments that has that wants to cover multiple Hyper-V nodes in an environment. So creating huge images to maintain, cover, and install, it is much more effort, I would say, to maintain. You are also creating something that is much more smaller, so it is good, I would say. So you have resources like the disk space available for other proposal. Also memory, it is hosted for required for Nano Server to run. It's really small. You are going to see that, and you will see that all the resources that you having for your host should be dedicated to providing the services, not to maintain the host itself. It is really good, I would say. And also, you can improve in security on that. If you're having the licenses running on your host environment, you have less components, and also it's less possibilities to be breaching of the security. So I would say that you are improving the security because you have a system that is more easy to maintain. Besides of that, you have less effort and also less resources that could be affected. So it's much more secure, I would say, that if you can go in this direction. And also the performance can be much more better. Also for the host perspective, because it is a system that is really small and then can be really fast. Let's say it's really impressive how fast it can be. And also you can increase in the performance of your services that you are providing because you are using your same amount of the resources, but in providing better resources for your services. And that's the end, it's your virtual machine. So that is the five main reasons that I would say that why you should adopt in a Nano Server. It's make more sense, and you are going to see more details during the next videos in this course. But that's the initial idea for what's the reason for continuing this direction. Okay, good for that. Okay, that was the summary. So we covered briefly how the main challenges and why it was necessary to think about this idea and considering the scenario, why we should improve in that. And then we discover a little bit about what is Nano Server, and now we are just talk a little bit about why Nano Server could be a good option for your environment. So that was the summary for that. Okay, that was pretty good so far. Yeah, on the next video we are going to cover the key aspects of the Nano Server, and then you are going to see more Nano Server details. How is that going to work? I'm going to providing a brief living about the Nano Server run, and then you see this is becoming to presenting to you the solution. Okay, that's the idea. So that's all for this video. See you soon. Bye.